Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel, Jacob Gramegna / Amateur Hour Sports. For today's Raptors Happy Hour live stream, we are here for the Wednesday Happy Hour, the bridge in pretty much the middle of the week. Nice little boost to help get you through the rest of it. We got a Raptors game tomorrow. We got plenty to talk about today. Should lead to a good show. And I tell you, when you all of a sudden have a bunch of the light shining in your face, you realize how dirty your glasses are. So allow me to take a moment to clean these. But that's okay. I don't need them to talk. We got a good show lined up for you guys today. Vibes are a little bit better. You know, the Raptors coming through with an impressive win over the Miami Heat. Miami also kind of spiraling a little bit at the moment. I say also because the Raptors went into that game having lost 6 of 7. The reaction from Darko in the post-game press conference was that of very much relief. He was basically thanking God for the Raptors winning that game. You could feel the desperation, if you will, in that performance from the Raptors. But again, against a struggling Heat team, somebody had to come through the win, and the Raptors absolutely earned it. They played very well in the second half for that 106-96 victory, and they didn't play well in the first half, but they kept in the mix. They were there. They didn't drift too far behind the Miami Heat. So that is definitely a positive that we have for Toronto. And again, vibes just a little bit up. So we'll talk a little bit more about that performance. We'll talk a little bit about the upcoming schedule and the difficulties that we might see in the upcoming schedule. Then we got some news before that Miami game, right before that Miami game, from TSN Raptors beat reporter Josh Lewenberg, who talked about what the Raptors' priorities are for the trade market over the course of the next 6 or so weeks as we get towards the NBA trade deadline. The Raptors have seemingly made their intentions clear, but it's still a little bit unclear. They've made their intentions clear, but it's a little bit unclear because there's a bit of a confusing aspect with it. So we'll touch on that as we go through the stream today. Also, in the social media sphere, we had Fred VanVleet, who's been podcasting this season. He's rehabbing from I think it's ACL. It's a season-long injury. I believe it's his ACL, but he's out for the season. He's taken up podcasting, and he recently appeared on a Raptors podcast hosted by Will Liu, the Hello and Welcome podcast, and got very real about the Raptors and very real about the dynamic the Raptors had with Kawhi Leonard. So I want to touch on that. I'm sure you've seen, at least some stories from that. If not, some interesting stuff came out of it, so we'll touch on that. Also in the social media sphere, I guess WNBA sphere as well, the Toronto Tempo, the the City of Toronto's WNBA franchise, the Tempo, have released their jersey. We'll give my first thoughts on that. We'll get reaction from the chat, see what you guys think about the jersey. We'll discuss that a little bit, and we'll provide you an update on the Raptors 905. They have had an historic start to the G League season, but their record is about to reset ahead of the start of the regular season. So I'll do my best in this confusing G League process. I'll explain exactly why that is the case. So if all that sounds good, then make sure you've hit the like button. If you enjoy along the way, make sure you hit the like button. Hang on. One moment. I think my WhatsApp account is getting hacked. Give me a second here. All right, well, let's sort this out. Wow, that's unfortunate timing. How do I stop this? I'm going to add two-step verification right now. And I'll add. That's weird. I just got a notification that my WhatsApp is being. There is an attempt to access my WhatsApp on another device, and there should be no reason why anybody would be accessing my WhatsApp. Not that I use WhatsApp very often. I don't even know what's in here, but I use it enough to get a notification that is very alarming. So give me 1 sec. Okay, verifying with my email as well. All right. Two-step verification is on. Okay, let me just see if I can shut this down. Is being registered on a new device. And I got a code, but I did not enter that code. So hopefully... Now I'm getting a fraud call. This is alarming. I'm sorry I have to do I'm sorry I have to do this while I'm live. But this is very pressing. Somebody's trying to get into my WhatsApp right now. I'm gonna add more protection. So I have recovery email. I have two-step verification. Good thing I was on my phone right now. I'm getting weird text messages. This is not a bit. This is not a bit. This is not the Raptors show that you signed up for. It's okay. It's being registered on your device. So hopefully nobody's getting into my WhatsApp right now. Okay, should be locked, right? I have password set up now. I have email on it. Don't see any text. Okay, should leave that. My WhatsApp. There's an attempt to get into my WhatsApp just now, so I just want. Oh my God! You never know what you're gonna get on one of these streams. I'm sorry, but I'm having flashbacks, nightmares. It was just under a year ago today that this YouTube channel got hacked and was replaced by like this crypto shilling YouTube account. And I lost I caught it early enough that I lost like 100 subs, which sucked. But anyways, almost lost the entire account, which would have been just obviously absolutely devastating emotionally. It would have hurt me a little bit financially as well. This being kind of like a bit of an ancillary income to my full-time job. It was a disaster situation. I remember it being on, I believe it was New Year's Eve, which was very good because I was able to, so I think I figured it out in the morning of New Year's Eve. And obviously, like, my head is spinning. Like, I'm on a mental spiral with everything happening there. Like, one of the worst feelings I ever had, just stomach sinking, 5 years of work, seemingly, like, potentially down the drain. I forget what the timing was of it, but I remember because it was New Year's Eve, I got I think YouTube support contacted me close to midnight on New Year's Eve, and I was awake, which I wouldn't have been if it wasn't for New Year's Eve, into the early AM. And because of that, I was able to reply and get it sorted, a lot of it sorted that night / morning of January 1st. So I got the account back in a couple of days, but man, for a moment, it was real scary. It was real scary. I got by a pretty good, I got by a pretty good scam, to be honest. I got by a pretty good scam. It was, I actually haven't talked about this, but when the channel got hacked, there was a company that was posing as a company that was, they were posing, it was people that were posing as a company that wanted to sponsor the channel. And they had a website, they had tutorial videos, they had like a very convincing system in place. Like now I'd be alerted to something like that more so. There may have been like some yellow flags. I was like there is somebody with like a picture of themselves messaging me. There is a website. There are tutorial videos on the product that they're supposedly selling. And so what I had to do was download a contract to look over. The contract I downloaded was the malware or whatever that got them access to the YouTube channel somehow. So I learned my lesson from that. If I ever do take a sponsorship going forward, I will have to meet somebody on a video call. I will actually have to see them. But even then, like I could see somebody posing as an individual that represents a company there, and that being a problem. But you'd have a better idea, I suppose, in that sense. But I think the lesson is don't fucking download anything to at least don't download anything on, like, I guess the Google account that you're using your YouTube account with. I don't know. I'm going to be a lot more careful going forward. But that's enough rambling. Sorry for the interruption on that one. Thank you to Doug B in the chat for joining here today. Appreciate it. Let's get it going here. So the Raptors, as I mentioned, 106-96 victory over the Miami Heat. Impressive result overall. Impressive result overall for... Sorry, I don't have the chat active here. Impressive result overall for the Raptors in this one, like I mentioned. I mean, you felt the desperation there, for sure. And you definitely were able to feel the desperation in the voice of Darko Rajakovic when the game ended. And he was thanking God, like I said. Like, they needed this win. They needed this win, and they were able to secure it. 106-96 in this one. Very impressive scoring performance from Brandon. Wow. ESPN changed the font in their website, and I like it, actually. You know, usually I don't like change like this, but ESPN just changed the font on their box scores, and I like it. I think it looks pretty clean. I think it's actually easier to read and digest. So anyways, looks pretty good on the screen share as well. Anyways, Raptors back up to third place despite the run. The East is extremely congested, like 2 losses in a row and you're like 9th or 10th, and then 2 wins in a row and you might be like the 2 seed. It's a very congested Eastern Conference. Brandon led the way with 28 points. Raptors offense wasn't completely at the races. It is still like feeling a little bit alarming that Brandon Ingram is playing so well and the Raptors offense is still not looking terrific. But it was a very good second half performance from Scotty Barnes and a very good clutch performance from Scotty Barnes, which helped vault the Raptors to this win. He finished with 17, 10, and 6, plus 14. Major shout-outs to the bench. Huge contributions from Jamal Shed, who was a plus 27. A plus 27 in this one. That's extremely impressive. Love that. Mamakos really plus 19, 11 points. Great from him as well. So, like Mr. Snow says in the chat, kind of riding the ship. NBA standings looking a whole lot better. I think people are caring a bit too much about the standings right now because, like, the Raptors are 16-11. Awesome, yes. But, like, you know, 2 losses, you could easily fall off the pace and you're, like, 9th in the East. 2 losses in a row. 2 wins in a row, and all of a sudden you're, like, the 3 seed. Okay, the Knicks are kind of pulling away now. But 2 wins in a row, you're, like, the 3 seed. So people care too much. Like, if the Raptors had lost that game, they'd be 15-12. They'd be tiebreaker. They'd be the 7 seed. People care too much about that, like falling off the. We're still on pace, even if you lose a couple games. Obviously, if that's extended, that's a problem. But we're 16-11. We're above 500. Like, if you got offered this, you're 16-11. You're 3 seed in the East. If you got offered this to start of the season, like, who the hell is saying no to that? So let's try to keep that kind of mindset in perspective as we progress through the next little while of the season. Just making sure everything's all good here on the hacker front. Anyways, pre-seed. Positive vibes certainly existing right now for the Raptors, but could maybe be a little bit more short-lived with the upcoming schedule. Next 5 games, good spots, like Raptors coming up on Thursday against Milwaukee Bucks. That is a game that the Raptors are already favored for despite being away from home. They're favored, last I checked, by like 4.5. They're going to want to win that game, especially with like some tougher part of the schedule coming up. Like the next 5 games, like I said, some easier spots. Like you have Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Washington in there. But you also have Boston and Miami in there, which won't be easy games. Brooklyn and Washington should be relatively easier games. Not saying that's auto win, because we saw what happened against the Hornets. Past 2 times we played them. But should be wins there. Then it's Golden State, Orlando, Denver, Atlanta, Charlotte, who you've lost to twice, Boston, Philly. Like, really tough run of games coming up here for the Raptors. So, to me, very important very important here that the Raptors get the wins when they're available. And wins are available at Milwaukee, at Brooklyn, and at Washington. So definitely, like, this one I really want to get a win and just right the ship, get the confidence juices going after that win against the Miami Heat. Keep it going against the Bucks. Again, those are the spots where you really want to just take advantage. Absolutely. Mr. says, were we not 15-5? We were not 15-5. We were 14-5, which is very good. But 16-11, like, look, like I said, if I had said to you before the first game of the season, after 27 games, you can be 16-11, 3 seed in the East. Do you take that right now, or do you watch those games play out? You offer me that start season, I'm taking that deal. Taking that deal 9 times out of 10. Maybe 10 times out of 10. I'm taking that deal. This is a team coming this season was projected as a 500 team, a play-in team. We're third in the East with 16-11. Obviously, not great to fall off from 14-5 to now be 16-11. But again, keeping things in perspective, things would be a whole lot worse than they are right now for the Raptors. And the Raptors finding this level of success right now, despite the fact that there are like these like at least a very glaring issue with the team. They're finding enough success to be 16-11 this season, the Raptors, despite the fact that they are very much still lacking depth in the center position. And with the injury struggles, the back issues of Jakob Poeltl this season, he hasn't been at his best. And the issues with traditional centers or lack thereof in the roster, those issues have been even more glaring this season. And we finally have some clarity as to what the front office perspective is for the Raptors regarding this position. Let's have a look at what was said. And this came before the recent win against the Miami Heat. At the time, the Raptors had lost 6 of 7. They had a little bit of a mini break after the play-in turn. But ahead of that game, we had Josh Lewenberg of TSN, Raptors beat reporter, who was on the broadcast in the pregame discussing what he is hearing from the Raptors front office. I would play the clip, but I fear there could be some copyright issues with TSN. So, very good summary here provided by Omer Osman at Omer Osman 200 on Twitter. Very good follow for Raptors news. I would recommend if you are on the app. But essentially, the Raptors are not looking to replace Jakob Poeltl. They are looking to supplement the center position and bring in other players, which I think is the right move, as I spoke about in the previous edition of the Raptors Happy Hour. I went over specific, or was it in one of the last two? Anyways, head to the channel where I talked about specific players the Raptors could target, because I went through the AD situation. That's also in a video on the channel. And I just don't really think there's a feasible trade there for the Raptors. And if they are going to get him, it would have to move Jakob Poeltl on, which I'm fine with. It's just I don't really see the trade being super feasible for the Raptors and realistic. Anyways, there is a very high percentage chance that there is a move for the Raptors coming up. The Raptors still have the intent of being under the tax, and I've never wavered off that. I believed all season they want to be under the tax. They're slightly over the tax right now, the threshold. They want to move under the tax. But specifically mentioned on the broadcast here were guys like Daniel Gafford, Goga Bitadze. Don't think Goga Bitadze would get moved. Daniel Gafford might be a bit too expensive for what the Raptors are trying to do here. But Raptors are looking to make a move for the center position. Typically, or mostly, they are looking for somebody who can back up Jakob Poeltl. But there are rumors coming around and very credible reports from the likes of people like Jake Fisher, who is suggesting that the Raptors are still targeting Anthony Davis and Domantas Sabonis. Now, maybe these are a little bit more far-fetched, because if you're going for Sabonis or Anthony Davis, I see absolutely no reason whatsoever why you would keep a hold of Jakob Poeltl to pair with those guys. I think that'd be an awful fit. I know Anthony Davis likes playing the 4, but I think if he's playing the 4, you need a 5 who can space the floor. Because there's just so much restricted paint access if you're playing like Anthony Davis Poeltl. I also don't really see how you could possibly get Anthony Davis without putting in Poeltl, unless you're using like Barrett and Quickly. But if you're doing that, like, you're just sacrificing so much of your guard play. Again, doesn't make sense to me to go after a player like Domantas Sabonis or Anthony Davis unless Jakob Poeltl is in the deal. So maybe the situation is, if it's Davis or Sabonis, we're okay to put Poeltl in the deal. But maybe the priority right now for the Raptors is to look for a player who can back up Poeltl. And I think that's the best way the Raptors should be approaching this trade season, given the assets they have. Sabonis, for me, when I heard his name linked here, I don't know what the right word is. I wasn't pleased to see the Raptors potentially having interest in Domantas Sabonis. I'm not a super large fan of his ability to influence wins. I think he's a great player, but his play style is not super indicative of winning. I think his play style is that of a player you'd want to be a little bit better. The fact that he's not a great defender, great rebounder, but not a great defender, which is something the Raptors need in this spot. Not a good shooter, which can lead to some issues considering how much money he's making. $42 million this year, $45 million next year, $86 million the next. 42, 45, then $48 million the year after that in his age 31 season. And again, it's just not a player that's really he's not really earning that paycheck at the moment. Like, he's had some great years with Sacramento. I just think it's really not a good fit to acquire a player making star player money to put with Barnes and Ingram. Like, this year he's averaging 17.2 points on a bad Sacramento team. Like, his numbers are down. He really should be averaging like 19 points on close to 60% shooting. That is what he can do. He's not a very good floor spacer. I know he's shot okay from three, but he's not like a threat outside to like space the floor. People are okay to allow him to kind of take these threes on. So for me, this is not a very good target for the Raptors, but it could be like, similar to the Masai Ujiri era where they're going to make phone calls. They're going to ask around. They are going to see what is going on in these trade markets to see if they can cut a deal. And maybe they're just feeling out the situation for Domantas Sabonis. So for me, again, I don't think this is a very good player to pursue. Anthony Davis, we've talked about it on the channel rather extensively at this point. I don't really see a fantastic trade out there that does make a lot of sense for the Raptors. And Anthony Davis makes a whole lot more money than Domantas Sabonis does. So if you're going to go for Anthony Davis, I think, like Mr. Snow is saying in the chat here, does Mama Kilic really space the floor? Yes, I wholeheartedly believe he's spaced the floor. And I think if you're going for Anthony Davis, that's a player that I'd be pretty comfortable moving into the starting five. Now, you'd have to find a backup somewhere because those are like your only two bigs. I don't trust Mobo for NBA minutes. I'm okay with, like, if you go for Anthony Davis, you move Poeltl, like, if there's a good trade and that can happen out of it. Like, the Raptors get a better deal than I would expect the Dallas Mavericks to ask for. Like, if you're trading Poeltl and RJ, I'm okay with Mamu starting, to be honest, next to Anthony Davis, because Mamu can space the floor. Anthony Davis can play down low, and you can get AD playing in his preferred position as the power forward. That's something I would explore. But to me, Poeltl is a good player. I know he hasn't looked like it this season, but I trust him to get healthier, start performing better, be more influential to the team. And I think that the Raptors, if Poeltl's out injured, if there is this issue with the back, also you don't have to like rely on him for as many minutes. If you can get a proper backup big to play in the spots behind him, I think Goga Bitadze would be, like, as Josh Zoomer said, that's somebody looking at, would be an excellent pickup. I just don't really see the Magic having a very large interest in trading that player, considering he's become like decently important towards the rotation. Now, if Mo Wagner returns from injury and he becomes a little bit more expendable, then perhaps that can change and he become somebody who could be actual good trade candidate for the Raptors. But the names I mentioned previously, like lower tier players that can give you stability for the position, guys like Brook Lopez, Kevon Looney, not super flashy, but I think players that could help the Raptors and just give the depth needed for this position. Don't think the Raptors need to swing for the fences for this spot. I think, like, hey, you have all your picks. If you do want to swing for the fences somewhere, like, you're able to do it, even in like the current state of the Eastern Conference where the Raptors maybe haven't been at their best lately, yet are still the 3 seed at a 16-11 record. I'm not sure I'm ready to make the big splash on a player I don't believe is like a fantastic fit for the team. And like, I don't think Anthony Davis is that fantastic fit. I don't think Domantas Sabonis is that fantastic fit. Therefore, for me, look for a backup that is going to give you good solid minutes, good stability, and is not going to break the bank as far as trade assets are concerned. But I mean, at least the good news is very much that the Raptors front office understands the need for somebody to fill this role as the backup big. And again, the desire is predominantly to keep a hold of Poeltl. So we'll see what materializes out of that, but I am happy that they understand where some of the issues lie and that they need to address this position. Absolutely. Which they haven't done for a large number of years at this point. Anyways, does Anthony Davis trade make sense to Raps if we could snag him by trading Jakob quickly 2 first-round picks? Shed moves up to the starting point guard for us. Do you think that's bad or good trade? I wouldn't trade. I did this in the video, but I wouldn't trade quickly. I would do RJ and Poeltl and 2 picks. That's fine with me. I'd do that trade. Like let's just say either quickly or Barrett plus Poeltl and 2 picks. I'd do that, but I don't think Dallas do that. I don't think 2 first-round picks plus 2 contracts that they don't probably really want. I don't think that's doing enough for Dallas. So that's why I say I consider this to be a little bit unrealistic, because I would do that, but I don't think Dallas would do that. Yeah, Anthony Davis is a bit of a risk for injury, but like so are RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, and Jakob Poeltl, who would be going the other way, 2 of which would be going the other way in that deal. So if I'm like waiting for a guy to return from injury, I'd kind of might rather it be Anthony Davis than any of those other guys, because he's better. You know, he's a superstar. But there is risk. Like, that's obviously got to be factored in as well. Can we trade for AD without giving up RJ, for example, 3-team trade? I mean, you could do a 2-team trade without RJ. You could do Quickly and Poeltl. I very much value the movement, shooting, and floor spacing that Quickly provides over the downhill scoring of RJ Barrett. I think RJ's the more talented player, but if I'm choosing someone to pair with Anthony Davis, Scotty Barnes, and Brandon Ingram, it's a guy who's spacing the floor. I think there's plenty of scoring with those 3. I want some more floor spacers. I want guys to kick out to. Emmanuel Quickly fits that bill a little bit better. What is a fantastic fit? I mean, Jokic. No, in seriousness, what is a fantastic fit at center? Honestly, like, healthy Poeltl's a good fit, for sure. A healthy Jakob Poeltl's a good fit. A younger Brook Lopez, if you could go back, is a good fit. Good rim protection, good rebounding, good shooting. Like, I think, like, the skill set you're looking at right now, predominantly you're looking for rim protection and rebounding. Poeltl is great at those things. On offense, obviously, if you can get that with somebody who can shoot, that's fine. That's why guys like Miles Turner aren't of super interest to me, because the priority is rim protection, defense, and rebounding. Miles Turner doesn't excel at either thing, particularly rebounding. He's awful. He's a good shooter, though, on offense. But I value the defense a bit more for this position. So for Jakob Poeltl, I'd like that when he's healthy. On offense, like, 3-point shooting is great, but Jakob Poeltl doesn't have that. What he does provide, excellent screen setting. He's just highly intelligent passer. Keeps the ball ticking, which is good in the Darko Rajakovic system that we have right now. There's a good skill set there. Like, from a cheaper perspective, like, dream backup big is Steven Adams. I just don't think Houston are going to part ways with him. I think Daniel Gafford's like a solid option. I think Goga Bitadze, honestly, is a fantastic backup big option if the Raptors can get a hold of him. But I don't see Orlando being super keen on letting him go. But the biggest skill set is rim protection and rebounding and an ability to contribute on offense, whether that be being a good passer and a good screen setter or being a shooter. For the case of Poeltl, he's a good passer and good screen setter, good scorer down low. Not a shooter, obviously, but the traits that I value the most at the moment for the big position, again, rebounding and rim protection. Andre Silva says, just go for backup center. No point in trading picks and players for injury-prone center. Go for a player like Gafford or Goga for backup center as the way to go for the Raptors. Yeah, I saw some people online that were like kind of debating the Gafford acquisition and were saying things like, Why is trading for Gafford a problem with assets? Like, I think you should trade Poeltl to get Daniel Gafford. I think Poeltl still is going, like, I know he hasn't played well this season, but he still is going quite underrated in general Toronto Raptors discourse. I do believe, again, like, Poeltl has a lot of the skill sets to be required. I think if you did, like, not to say Daniel Gafford's a bad player, he's not, he's a good player, but I think if you did one-to-one replace Jakob Poeltl with Daniel Gafford, you'd feel the impact defensively. You'd honestly feel the impact a bit offensively. Like, because what Poeltl can do, he doesn't space the floor by shooting, but at least he can operate outside the paint and still be effective with, you know, passing and screen setting. Gafford is not that type of player, not a good playmaker at all. Really is like a rim running type of center, lob threat, which, you know, there's reasons to have like a lob threat on your team, and there's positives that go with having a lob threat on your team, but I don't think that's a great fit for this roster. So I like, you know, it's a good player, good skills to have, but I don't think, like, with the starting unit, that's super ideal. I think it's a downgrade at the position, and if the Raptors are trying to win, I don't really see the reason why we should be downgrading fit and talent in the trade market. We're trying to win. So to me, like, yeah, Gafford as a backup, that'd be excellent. Probably would cost a bit too much to justify getting a backup center when I think there are cheaper options out there who can give you good minutes in the spot. And again, like, your priority is Poeltl as your center. You don't need to break the bank. You just need somebody who can give solid, stable backup minutes, like I've been saying there. That's what we're looking for here. I don't want Quickly as point guard. Don't think he's a good point guard. I would trade to get Ball. LaMelo? I mean, sure, I'd be on board. That's an upgrade, but I mean, it's an upgrade, but I might be a bit tough to make that happen. You'd lose. I mean, defense actually wouldn't lose. I still like Quickly. I think Quickly's a good point guard. I don't subscribe to Quickly being a bad point guard. There are, I mean, definitely his better position as a two guard, but his size, you want him to play as a one with his size. So the Raptors are trying to make that happen, get the development there. Hasn't quite gotten to the level we want, but I wouldn't be, like, anxious to move off Quickly. I still think there's value in running him in that position. Anyways, I just got a message that I'm selling something on Facebook Marketplace, and this guy's been, like, a bit unresponsive and, like, tough to, like, coordinate with. All of a sudden, he's, like, about to show up to pick something up, so I'm gonna have to, like, interrupt the stream in, like, 5 minutes if he's on time. I'm gonna have to interrupt the stream in, like, 5 minutes to quickly, like, run out and hand off the item and receive money in return. So just preparing you for that in advance. Sorry for another interruption stream. He told me he would be here actually at 4 o'clock, which is an hour and a half ago. And then when I was like, what's going on? He didn't reply until now. Apparently, he's like 5 minutes out. So apologies for that. I purposely tried to record this outside of stream, but everything, my WhatsApp's getting hacked. I'm trying to sell something on Facebook, and that's going on right now. I apologize. So if I get a message and I have to run out, just know why that happened. All right. Classic Marketplace, usually them don't show. I mean, we'll see. Apparently, he called me earlier. He said he's not from Toronto, but he's in Toronto today. I live downtown, so he wants to come around and pick it up. So I was like, all right, that's cool with me. So we'll see. We'll see. If it doesn't show up, then that's fine. I'll just go about my day and sell it to somebody else. What do you think if Giannis requests a trade? Do we go all in? Is Scotty untouchable, or is Giannis a must-get no matter the cost? I view it like Kawhi's situation could be amazing. For me, our conversation ends at Scotty Barnes with them. Their conversation probably starts with Scotty Barnes. So theirs ends when Scotty Barnes is off the table. Ours ends when he's on the table. So for me, I'm not in the mood to trade Scotty Barnes. I still view him as a player to build around. If I'm getting a star player, I want them playing with Scotty. Right now, I also want them playing with Ingram. I'm okay to pass if that's the case. I went through the video. I don't think we can come up with the best offer for Giannis. I don't think he's going to end up in Toronto, unfortunately. All right, before we get to the Kawhi situation, which Fred VanVleet discussed recently, Scotty and OG on the same team right now would be amazing to watch. Well, we'll never know what that's like. That's for sure. I wanted to talk about briefly then this is like the segment so that if I get a message in the next 2 minutes that the person's here, I can just cut it. But I want to talk about the Toronto Tempo. The Toronto Tempo have come up with their jersey designs for the upcoming inaugural season for them. I have come around on the name of the team. I don't mind the Toronto Tempo. I like that. I'm starting to like it. Not a fan of the logo. This, like, you know, the T that they have here. Not a fan. But the jerseys, I like the color scheme, and I'm an enjoyer of the jerseys. I like the kind of maroon color. I like the light blue trim. I like the font, to be honest. That's kind of growing me. I don't love. I mean, it's part of the game. You know, having the sponsorships, CIBC underneath. It's part of the game. They need funding. You need funding. You need sponsorships to fund the league. That's fine. I really dislike the sponsor being bigger than the text for your team. Like, I feel like the sponsorship, like, it's one thing to have the top left, like the Sephora here, smaller. I understand having it underneath to get more seen, get more money out of it. I don't think it should be bigger than the text of your team. I don't love that, but I like the jersey. I don't love when teams, like, maybe make, like, design choices for their jersey, and then, like, this feels, like, made up. So they have, like, 6 lines here, and it says, each uniform features our signature 6 speed lines, representing the 5 players in the court and the 6th player in the game, our fans. I don't know. Feels a little made up. But anyways, I like the design. The varying thickness and movement of the lines reflects the changing paces of the tempos. I mean, sure, I can buy that a little bit more, and it maybe adds to the aesthetic, like the different sizes. But I think it's more of an aesthetic choice rather than that. They need to be different. No, they need to be different because of the changing paces of the tempo and the rustle and bustle of the city of Toronto. I don't know. That doesn't seem real to me. I like the colors. However, what I don't understand, and I don't know if any of you caught this when I went to the logo originally, here's like the coloring. Like, you know, you have this maroon sort of reddish brown color here. But the logo of the Twitter account is very much off color. Like, can you guys... This is like a more plum color in the logo that is very far off the color on the header. Like, look at the color difference here. Maybe you can't see it as well, but look at the color difference. So they originally had this sort of aesthetic in mind for the coloring, this kind of plum color, and they've just completely changed that. And honestly, I imagine the logo on the Twitter account will change soon. This actually happened with the Raptors account. They had a different purple color when they brought the purple jerseys back, like the purple dino back the purple jerseys back last season. Their Twitter account logo had a different purple shade to it than the jerseys were. So what they actually did was they changed the logo on the Twitter account to reflect that. So I wonder, I don't know, just maybe something I've noticed, maybe you haven't noticed. But again, I like the jerseys. I like the color. I like the trim. I like the font. Don't love the CIBC, but again, it's part of the game. I'm a fan, and if it's not way too expensive, I'd like one. And maybe one day I can get one on sale. But I like it. I'm a fan. I'm excited for the WNBA season because Toronto has a team. I've never been a watcher of the WNBA. I can see myself definitely throwing some Toronto Tempo games on, and this could be fun. WNBA team. I think that's good. Question from Burns. Can the Raptors go after Christian Koloko? Can. Yes. Why not? He's a free agent. Should. No, probably not. definitely was off base when the Raptors released him. I was really worried about his ability to develop and get better, make an impact in the NBA, and doing it with another team. And turns out he just might not be that good. Maybe the time off effective. Maybe the Lakers wasn't a great destination, but the Raptors need answers to their backup center position. Unfortunately, nothing indicates to me that Christian Koloko over the last year and a half is going to be the answer provided. He's a bit slow-footed. I think he'll be a little bit exposed on defense in the NBA. I don't see him contributing to any degree on offense, unfortunately. So for me, sadly, I have to say I don't think Koloko is the answer at all. We got to do better. Essentially, we just got to do better than that. For the sake of the team, we got to do better than that. Are you thinking about covering them? I am not. I'm absolutely not. I cannot dedicate. I have no more. I have no time. I have no more time to do anything. I am so constantly busy. Like I'm not like crying about it or anything, but like I'm so busy. My schedule is always so full. There's no like I really relish like a night like yesterday where I had nothing. I didn't have anything to do for like a couple hours in the evening. I just wrapped some Christmas gifts, so I had to fill it up. I couldn't just sit and do nothing. Like I haven't played video games in like 3 weeks. I'm a busy guy. I'm a busy guy, so I don't have time. Long story short, it's like I'd love to do other projects. I consider myself to be like very driven by like hobbies and very ambitious with like my hobbies. I really enjoy cooking. I really enjoy playing sports. I play darts, so I'm like I feel like I could make content out of stuff like that. But I've chosen my pathway for content, and that pathway is Raptors. So no more time for anything else. It'll be like the Jays where, like, you know, for playoffs, I could see myself touching on it a little bit, or, you know, I'll talk about it on streams like this. But no, as far as like dedicated coverage to it, not going to happen. Not happening. All right. Sorry, I'm checking my phone because the person was supposed to be here. The person who was 5 minutes away. Well, that was 12 minutes ago. So I'm just like waiting for this person to show up. Facebook Marketplace, man. It's just you never know. Sometimes, you know, you get a smooth transaction. I'll be there this time. They show up at that time. You walk out with the item. They have cash in hand. They give you the cash. You give them the item. See ya. Sometimes you go outside. Is it okay if I e-transfer? I mean, not really, but you're already fucking here. Like, if you're going to e-transfer, if you're going to be on Facebook Marketplace going to buy something, you got to, in advance, say, is e-transfer okay? Then I'll say, I prefer not, but if you have to, that's fine. Here's my email. Now, when the person shows up, they already have my email. They can e-transfer me easily. Now, they might get here. They are going to... If they are, I'm assuming the person who's been a hassle already is going to continue to be a hassle and is going to ask to e-transfer me. They are not fucking getting a fucking cent off of the price we agreed on. That is for sure. We are staying on the fucking price we agreed on here. I'm happy to just, especially like, I've got pocket aces here. Like, you're making the trip to Toronto. This is you who have gone out of your way. If you want to go all the way out of your way to pick this shit up and then haggle me over $10, I'll wait. I'm petty. I'll wait. I'll sell it to somebody else. I'll sell it to somebody else for the price that you wanted to pay here. Anyways, if you're on Facebook Marketplace, you're going to e-transfer somebody. Tell them in advance to see if it's okay. Get their email in advance just so you get e-transfer. You have their e-transfer email on file, essentially, for when you want to do it. But just try to get cash. Like, just go get cash. Why does random person over the internet need my email? Give me cash. Anyways, we'll see. Maybe they're gonna show up in the next minute. I'm gonna get a message, and maybe they have cash, and maybe I'll just walk out, and it'll be easy. Also, with Facebook, now that I'm on this tangent, Facebook Marketplace. I feel like if I'm buying something from Facebook Marketplace, I'm gonna go out to get it. I am assuming the risk of the item not fitting. You know, if I'm buying like a pair of soccer cleats, for example, I have wide feet, so not every soccer cleat fits me very well. Some brands, some types just are just not going to work for me, period, no matter what the size is, which is why I typically don't buy cleats off Facebook Marketplace. But if I do, I see a good deal, and I got to take advantage of this. If I'm going to get the item somewhere, I'm buying it. Like, there's no chance I'm showing up asking to try on the shoes and then going to be like, sorry, they don't fit, I'm going to pass. Like, no. Once you're going to meet up, you're getting the item. So I'm selling the top. Like, no way should this person show up. Can I try it on, make sure it fits? Let you try on my clothes. It's either yours or it isn't. If it's yours, you do whatever the hell you want with it. There's got to be greater etiquette to this. Absolutely. Did I see that Fred said Kawhi never wants to intro? Yes, I want to get to that segment, but I don't want to have to cut it in the middle. Which is why I was hoping this guy would be here, like he said he'd be, fucking like 15 minutes ago now. 10 minutes ago. But I do want to talk about that. Spring training starts soon as well. Yeah, Blue Jays 100 days until opening day. Man, I want to be there for that. I will see if I can go, but I hope and I imagine they're gonna get a humongous ovation. I'm still not strong enough to wear my Blue Jays hat. I got two hats during the playoffs run. I got a playoffs hat and I got a World Series hat. They're absolutely two of the favorite hats that I own based on like the look and shape. I think they're just fantastic. I haven't been strong enough to wear them since the loss. But one day I'll feel strong enough, and maybe it'll be opening day 100 days from now. Can I show you on stream the hats or what? I wore them on stream previously. If you want to see them again, I can pull them up just around the wall over there. I want to do a hat. Sure, I'll do that, and then I'm gonna have to just start the Fred VanVleet segment because this is gonna take like 10 minutes of my time, and I could have just done it already. This guy's fucking jerking me around. I mean, nothing fancy. I just during the postseason run, I got tickets to Game 2 of the ALCS, which they got annihilated by the Mariners. Awesome. But I decided for the vibes, I wanted to get a playoffs hat, so I got one with the postseason logo. Blue hat, adjustable. Don't like fitteds. I think the shape is excellent for my very circular head. Gives me a little bit of extra shape. And then this was the one they wore after obviously winning in the ALCS in Game 7. I was at a bar watching that game. As soon as they brought this hat out on the field, I went, I need that hat. And it's same sort of shape. It's a different paneling, though. This one's got, like, the traditional paneling in the middle here, where it goes, like, right up to the top here. This one's a bit different. It has, you can kind of see a seam going on there, stitching that goes around, on here, which I prefer if it didn't have, but I'm okay with it having. It gives like a little bit flatter on the front for the big display there. So I love these hats, but it pains me to wear them. It pains me when I'm walking up and I see somebody wearing Blue Jays gear because it reminds me of what slipped between our fingers. Anyways, let's talk about Kawhi. Let's talk about Fred VanVleet. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it at this point. Like this has been making rounds on social media. But while Fred VanVleet is rehabbing from his season-long injury, he is taking up podcasting. And from the brief stuff that I've seen right now, Fred VanVleet has done a pretty good job so far. I think, based on the way he's played on the court, I feel like Fred VanVleet has very good basketball IQ, very good mind. I think he's actually very good for this role. And maybe to help kind of launch the podcast a little bit, he did a guest appearance with William Liu on the Hell and Welcome podcast. I think William Liu is probably the best Raptors content creator out there. Got Fred VanVleet on his show, and he provided a lot of closure and a lot of insight into the 2019 championship team, particularly on the topic of Kawhi Leonard. And I think I very much appreciate it, and I very much think you will as well. So for starters, let's listen into the clip here. It's minute 16 of Fred VanVleet on the show and what he had to say regarding Kawhi Leonard.
From day one, I'm not staying here.
You know what? He never said he was going to stay. Did you guys feel a way like, man, like you're not going to come back and play with us? Like we just did the whole thing.
No. And the only reason why is because he did what he came to do. And he said it from day one. I'm not staying here.
So this was kind of when I read this, I kind of chuckled to myself. Like it was kind of like we kind of knew he didn't want to be here, but now that we have like outright confirmation, he literally said, could not have been more straight up. He literally said, I do not want to stay here. I do not want to be here. It did provide some closure and clarity to the situation. But anyways, let's continue.
You know what? He never said he was going to stay. So.
He, from day one, I don't know why they traded for me. I don't want to be here. I'm not staying here. Now, Toronto put their best bid in, man. The city.
We tried, man. We tried. Kawhi and Dine. We tried, man.
Bow down like we've never seen before, man. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, as for us regular people, we can look at it and say, man, how could you leave that? You know what I'm saying? But his mind was made up, man. Kawhi is Kawhi. I thank him eternally for helping us win a championship and carrying us to a moment to where I could be solidified and go on to make a ton of money. And we're forever indebted to him for that. But, yes, you could look back and say, oh, we wish he would have did this. We wish he would have did that. But I'm just thankful that we got it. We got the job done. You know what I'm saying? He changed a lot of people's lives.
So again, to me, I feel a good amount of closure there. From day one, like Fred said, from day one, he said he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to stay here. So the Raptors knew what they were signing up for. They took a humongous gamble on one season, and it paid off. I mean, what would be the discourse around that team, this organization, had Kawhi left without winning a chip? Let's say Game 7 against the Sixers, the shot doesn't fall to win the game. Sixers will momentum, win in OT. Raptors lose second round again. Kawhi leaves in free agency. I mean, imagine the vibe around the team at that point. How disastrous that would have been. But, when you win, you never have to say sorry. But again, it does, provide, closure in the sense that Kawhi was never going to stay. It wasn't like, we were close to getting him. It wasn't like, what did we do wrong here? Kawhi never wanted to stay. He never wanted to be here. He made that clear from day one. He wasn't toying anybody. He wasn't stringing anybody along. He said right away, I'm not going to stay. I'm going to leave at the end of the season. But it is a bit of closure to the situation by learning, getting genuine confirmation. We knew Kawhi didn't really want to be here, but now we know for sure. He said it right away. So I really do give so much respect to Kawhi Leonard there's things I don't give him respect for, right? I think leaving, I still have some animosity towards him for leaving after winning a championship, having a desire to go win elsewhere, and having no success in doing so with the Clippers, who are completely falling off the rails, and it feels like that era has finally coming to an end without ever having reached the NBA Finals. I believe only one conference finals appearance in there. So, I mean, that brings me great joy that they have had no success with him. But he's talked about, like, even this season, they need better players. They need players chipping in more. And the Raptors had such a good team. Like you really think about that roster there. Obviously, the starting five was terrific. Kyle Lowry, Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, Marc Gasol. What a team. Like, this is a team that the next year, without Kawhi and Danny Green, were good enough to go back to the finals. If it wasn't for COVID, I think they would have. But they were still, they won more games the next year. They were a 2 seed the next year. They were still extremely good. That bench, though, Fred VanVleet was coming off the bench, who would go on to be an all-star in the NBA, be an incredible starter for the Raptors, signed a max contract in his career. That guy was coming off the bench. He got a finals MVP vote. Despite how good Kawhi was, Fred VanVleet got a finals MVP vote that year. Also coming off the bench, you had Serge Ibaka, terrific player, like who would start on a lot of teams, but came off the bench for the Raptors. You had guys like Norman Powell, who might be an all-star this year, who wasn't even, like, used tremendously. And it was like a roster so good that when OG Anunoby came back from injury, OG Anunoby, a max contract player pretty much, a player as good as OG Anunoby, they went, you know what? Let's not disrupt the rhythm and chemistry we've built in the playoffs so far. So even though OG Anunoby is healthy, we're good. We don't need to play OG. Like, that was the state of how good the team was. They could say, you know what, OG, we'll be okay without you for this series against the Golden State Warriors. Like, it's kind of, and he obviously wouldn't have been 100%, but it's kind of crazy that was the status, and he left that for the Clippers. But where I give Kawhi Leonard a lot of respect is the fact that he showed up to a place he didn't want to be, to play for a team that he didn't want to play for, and he played his ass off. All season, all playoffs. He put in the work to stay healthy. Raptors came up with a plan. Load management, that was like the creation of load management. It's obviously so, like, big now. But, like, that's where the infancy of load management was. Kawhi in that season, how well it worked for the Raptors. Load management helped keep him healthy for the playoffs, where he was playing like 40 minutes a game. But he came to a place he didn't want to be, to play for a team he didn't want to play for, and he absolutely, positively played his ass off and put up ridiculous levels all season, rose up to an even greater level for the playoffs, all the while knowing that no matter what happened, he would just go somewhere else that season and form a super team somewhere else at the end of the season. Yet he still had the drive to go and find success with the Raptors. And it meant something to him. Like, you saw the outcry of emotion. So you never get an emotional Kawhi. The outcry of emotion when he hit that shot in Game 7 against Sixers to win this series. Like, how could you not be emotional in a moment like that? But the outcry of emotion when the Raptors won the NBA championship. Like, the vibes you got out of the parade. Like, he enjoyed himself. He enjoyed himself here. He enjoyed his time here. And at the end of the day, there's a lot to be grateful for. You know, Fred VanVleet has talked about how he's changed lives. Maybe it put Fred VanVleet into a different perspective, but I've always maintained how good of a player Fred VanVleet was, and I thought the treatment of him by the fan base near the end of his tenure was extremely unfair. But, like, what he achieved there, like, it might be what puts Kyle Lowry in the Hall of Fame. It might have been how Pascal Siakam got himself up to that large of a contract that early in his career. It might have been enough to put Fred VanVleet in a perspective that helped get him over the line and make an all-star team one year. It really did change a lot, and it meant so much to the city, and I really over the time, I mean, I'm upset about it still, but I have come at peace with the decision, of course. Kawhi didn't want to be here, but still played like that and brought a championship to Toronto, which, like, if you asked somebody 15 years ago, can the Raptors win an NBA championship, they probably would have said no. They probably would have said it's impossible. But because of what he did, we can dream and we can imagine what it would be like to win again, because we've already done it. A lot of NBA teams out there who don't have that banner, who have never even been to an NBA Finals. One of those teams is, and still is, the Los Angeles Clippers. But every time I go in that arena, I get to stare up at the rafters and see the championship banner. And there's a lot to be thankful for that. And as much as I'd already found like closure on the whole situation where like, you know, he wanted to go home. He did it. He did his service. He wanted to go home, wanted to go play in LA, whatever. I have a lot more closure in knowing that from day one, he told everybody, I don't want to fucking be here. I'm fucking leaving at the end of the season. For some reason, that makes me feel much, much better. I don't know about you guys. But knowing that it was, he kept it straight up from day one, it does make me feel a bit better. All right, so while I was doing that, the person texted me 10 minutes ago. So I think it's pretty much time to end stream. By the way, Raptors 905 are 14-0. That's the, oh, I just missed a call. One sec. All right, person's here, so I got to go. Raptors are 14-0. This is like the G League, like, winter tip-off, like the tip-off tournament. So unfortunately, this 14-0 record won't go into the G League regular season. They'll be in a really good position for the tip-off tournament, which is coming up, and the showcase. But their record resets. 14-0, though. Amazing. So happy for them. I have to end stream. Big shout out to 905 Yada for the re-up on the membership. I wish I could stay and thank you even further, but I have to run outside right now. The person is here from Facebook Marketplace. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. I really appreciate it. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I will